Yo, Surreal Talk Radio, your man, Calico the Surrealist on WPRK 91.5 FM, Winter Park. We are kicking it after dark with our special guest in the building. And right now, I got my comedy co-host in here rocking with me tonight. Introduce y'all to him, and we going to get this thing to going. I got my little cousin exclusive in this thing. What's going on, cuz?
Chilling like a villain.
Chilling like a villain. We starting this thing on 11 o'clock on the dot. We on time tonight, baby.
We're doing good.
Yeah, man. Everybody except for our Auntie August. I don't know where she at. She gonna say I'm being petty, but it is what it is. She's not here in the building. But yeah, we got a hot show lined up tonight. We're going to kick things off with my surreal topic of the day. We got music from around the way. We got our throwback track. And, of course, my favorite part of the show, the Pump It or Dump It. Y'all get to call in and let us know how you feel about the music we playing. But now, man, without any further ado, man, my special guest chilling with us tonight. This brother right here, man, former Orlando Magic player, Sacramento Kings, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, one of my childhood heroes tonight, man. Mm-hmm. One of my childhood heroes. This is going to be a good one right here. Man, straight from the Orlando Magic Hall of Fame, we got my man, Nick Anderson, on the line. You there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here, baby. Appreciate it.
Man, I love it already, bro. We didn't even get started, and I love it. Yeah, man. All right, cool, man. So I want to thank you so much for doing our show, man, helping us grow this platform, man. We truly appreciate you, brother.
Oh, man, I appreciate the love and you guys having me on, man. It's an honor and a privilege.
Oh, man. Listen, man, the honor is, the privilege is all mine. Listen, I want to also thank you, man, for basically for your contribution in the 90s basketball. Like, that was such a time to be alive and such a time to be an NBA fan. A lot of the young kids, man, that weren't born in that era or whatever, they will never understand the Michael Jordans, Shaquille O'Neal's, Magic Johnson. You know, we could go on and on with great players, man, and you was a part of that. So just want to thank you, man, for just, that part of our lives, man,
Well, it was a great era. You mentioned some hell of a ball players. I had the opportunity to play with a bunch of great guys. You mentioned Shaq and Penny. You go down the line. D. Scott, Brian Shaw, Darrell Armstrong. That team that we had here in Orlando. Some great times, some great memories.
Oh, yeah, man. We definitely going to try to get it in with some of them great memories as well. All right, man. What I want to do is kick things off with my surreal topic of the day. Just get a little conversation going. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to go into Nick Anderson. My surreal topic tonight is Michael Jordan, it's a question, is Michael Jordan the best player in the history of the NBA? That's the question, and then I want to kind of, go into it. And from your perspective.
Well, I only can go by the guys that I played against. You think about all the great players that came before Michael Jordan, and when you mention a lot of these names that I'm gonna throw out to the younger generation, have no clue of who they might be. Didn't have the opportunity to see them play. That's what they say. Learn the history of the game or whatever sport it may be. You think about the Jerry West's, the Los Angeles Lakers, Bill Russell. I can throw out a whole lot of names. So, in my opinion, Michael Jordan is the greatest player that I've ever played against. See, I didn't have an opportunity to play against those guys that came before Michael Jordan. Right. And I have to show respect to those guys because those are some great players. Right. Think about the guys who paved the way for me to have the opportunity that I had. And those guys, and it's just a few names that I mentioned, those guys paved the way for myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. Man, I want to, a lot of people have a whole bunch of different ways that they, talk about the GOAT and all things of that nature. A lot of people have a whole different, I don't even know how to put it in words, but like just have different ways of how they summarize who's the greatest this, who's the greatest that. In my opinion, well, this is a fact, man. There's no such thing as a flawless player. Everybody has flaws.
No question. No question.
For sure.
You say flawless play. I don't know a perfect guy that played a sport. I don't know a perfect person that's walking on the face of this earth.
Right. Exactly.
As a matter of fact, I don't want to be around it. Everybody, someone that does everything perfect. Because when it hit the fan, things go wrong. They have never endured anything like that. So how can they help you when things are not going the right way? So, I want to be around somebody who has experienced some things, who have went through something.
Uh-huh.
I can learn from somebody like that. Somebody who's been through maybe what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And they know how to help me get through that hard time.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. So now my thing is, just because I'm one of them type of people who believe that, yes, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player in the whole entire history of the NBA, even though I wasn't even born, like you said, when some of those other players before him and before you was playing. But when I think about it, I kind of do it like this. I put together all of the stats, all of the championships, all of the, the talks amongst the peers. Like when you hear other players from Michael Jordan's era, like yourself and Magic Johnson and other players like that, how they speak about Michael, you know what I'm saying? Like once you put all of this stuff together, I think you can make his name is going to get brought up in the conversation.
When you talk about the guys that spoke about MJ, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, and that just shows that
probably more than any other game. That's the game I look
guys
forward
have
to.
respect for what he meant to this league, to the Chicago Bulls as a player, what he's done. Magic Johnson has to be, if not the greatest point guard to play the game. Larry Bird. A lot of these kids, they don't know about a Larry Bird and what he meant for the game of basketball, not just the Celtics.
Yeah.
Stats. Everybody, want to base something solely on stats.
Right.
Yes, stats it's a big part of everything, but there's a lot of other things that goes along with being the GOAT.
Yes,
let's talk about football. Let's nobody never speaks of Joe Montana as a quarterback. You hear Tom Brady, the greatest of all times.
Uh-huh.
You better go look at Joe Montana with his Super Bowl rings and what he did. Steve Young, and you going down the line. So it's a lot that goes with that. So with all due respect, in my opinion, Michael Jordan is the greatest player that I ever played against. Again, I can't speak for those that I never played against.
Yeah, I want to ask you while you on that. You've played against Michael Jordan. You've played against Kobe Bryant. I don't think there was a time that I know of that you played against LeBron, but these three people, their names get brought up all the time, and who's the greatest of all times and things of that nature. What was it like? What would you say the difference between playing against Michael and playing against Kobe was for you?
Well, a lot of people don't know that Kobe Bryant, when he first came in the league, he was drafted 13 overall by the Charlotte Hornets, and he was traded to the Lakers for one of my former teammates that I had the pleasure of playing with in Sacramento, and that was Vlade Divac.
Vlade Divac, yeah. Okay.
And Kobe didn't start for the Lakers. He backed up. He came off the bench and he backed up Eddie Jones, who was a hell of a player.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that, but with the work ethic and the passion to be one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball, Kobe Bryant worked his tail off to make himself who he was to that day that he had that tragic accident. Great player, somebody that wanted to be the best. See, you have to put the work in, and this is for these young guys out here, young ladies, whatever sport you're playing in. Don't expect results for the work you didn't put in.
Yes, man.
See, a lot of kids walk on the field through in the gymnasiums, and they want to be glorified for some work that they didn't put in.
Man, you preaching, boy.
Yeah, that go past sports. I know a lot of artists, music artists, are trying to do that right now.
A lot of them, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
If you want to be the best, you have to put the work in.
Man, every time you say that,
Yep.
every time you say it, man. And I'm just sitting here listening to you, bro, and I'm thinking, man, you played against Michael Jordan. Man, you played against Kobe Bryant. That in itself, man, people, I don't know what kind of conversations you be having around the house, man, but when you was on the court with these dudes, and you were a shooting guard, you actually had to play them.
Yeah, my night as a shooting guard back in the early '90s was tough. Just think of this: night in and night out. I had to guard the Michael Jordans, the Reggie Millers, the Joe Dumars, the Clyde Drexlers. You can go on down the line. There were some great players, the Mitch Richmonds. See, the players today know nothing about Mitch Richmond, but a Mitch Richmond, somebody played for the Sacramento Kings, 6'5.5", 6'6" shooting guard, that'll come out and give you that work.
Yeah, he was dangerous.
Yeah, man.
That work. See, they just talk about the big names, which they should. But Mitch Richmond he was that, you hear Mark Jackson use that phrase, "Mama, there go that man." There was some great players back then, but when you don't know, you don't learn the history of players that came before you. That's what you think. I just know this guy. No, learn the history of the game. Know who came before you. Learn about the game. Learn the ins and outs of the game when you want to sit there and talk about the game of basketball, football, baseball, whatever sport it may be. Learn who came before you.
Definitely, man. Well, listen, I want to get my co-host in here on here. I got my co-host, DJ Exclusive, and Miss August Hillary done stepped in the building and graced us with her presence. I ain't gonna be petty with her tonight. She looked like she may have had some,
Hey, well, you started with the cake. You got to put the icing on it. The icing just came in.
The icing just came in.
I ignore him, even though he had me outside standing for about 5 to 6 minutes for me.
Man,
you know what? I'm sweaty right now.
All right, man. Listen, man. Miss Aldridge, please speak into your microphone for us, please. All right, so I'm gonna get DJ Exclusive, man. The topic tonight is Michael Jordan the best player in the history of the NBA? What you got to say about that, cuz?
I would agree with that. It's hard because I grew up watching him without an education of the game, and I kind of learned the game through like Nick and Shaq, and I got educated through how they played the game. So now I'm kind of more critical of who I would say the GOAT is. That to pass Mike would be hard because it's like sentimental there, and I grew up from a kid to growing up watching him, and now I'm an adult. So everybody I critique now is because my education in the game is so up to par that they got a lot more to meet my expectations. But with Mike, I was a kid and was at awe.
You grew up on Mike. I got you, man. Miss Hillary, what you think about our topic? We talking about, is Michael Jordan the best player in the history of the NBA? What you say about that? She say, I'm a lady. I ain't got that.
No, it's not true. That is not true. I grew up on Chicago Bulls, to be honest with you. It was a sports household. It was the Bulls, and we had Dallas Cowboys. Do I think that he was the best? I would say he had skill, but I think honestly, being a Bulls fan, I think it was collective.
Okay.
So I can't really say. I say he got skills. Yes. Can I say I would? I like to research. I would want to go prior to Jordan and see whom out there fit his category to say he's the best.
Well, let me throw my little 2 cents in there. Playing against a guy, I had a chance to see his work ethic on and off the court because me being from Chicago, growing up, I was a Bulls fan before MJ got there, and where he took them to the next level. And we also had the same trainer by a guy by the name of Tim Grover. So I knew about the work ethic that he put in to become who he was. They got better players around him, and one guy in Scottie Pippen who has a lot to do with the success of the Chicago Bulls, and we need to respect that.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan before Scottie Pippen got there. Yeah, he was putting up big numbers, but they didn't win those rings.
Yeah, the rings came when Scottie got there.
And once Scottie Pippen came and started learning the NBA game and got more familiar with the NBA game and become a better all-around player, the Bulls started putting together that championship team. So let's give respect where it's due. Scottie Pippen had a whole lot to do with the Chicago Bulls' success, and I would never take anything away from MJ because MJ is who MJ is.
Correct.
But let me tell you this: when we played the Chicago Bulls, MJ was going to give you 48 minutes of hell.
And specifically you, because you had to guard him.
Exactly.
I think I remember
there
that
was
game.
no taking off plays. And you would get those sideline chirpers that sit down there around the court on the floor seats. Even some of my teammates.
Wow.
Do not give this man any more fuel to put on the fire because it's already a problem now.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he was one of those guys that once you get the mouthing off to him and saying all of, what we do as players, he took that and he ran with it. And I'll tell you this, I'll never forget my rookie year. We got ready to walk out on the floor in the jump ball, and Orlando was new to NBA basketball. The fans was all geeked up and everybody. And more than 80% of the arena had on Bulls jerseys because MJ is in town. And I'm a 20-year-old kid. He said, listen, man, I'm going to have 50 at the end of the third quarter, and I'm not going to play the fourth quarter. The end of the third quarter, he had 54 and didn't play the fourth quarter.
Man. See, it's a special player we talking about.
Yeah, calling it out like Babe Ruth or something.
Yeah. So I know about MJ. I know what he can do. I always knew. And in my eyes, again, I would say he's the greatest player that I ever played against. And that's with all due respect to the other great players I played against. I played against Magic Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Clyde Drexler, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, those Boston Celtics teams. I played against them all. So I played against some great basketball players. I played against a bunch of Hall of Famers. And I say this with all due respect to them. I would never shade them.
Yeah.
But Michael Jordan was a hell of a basketball player. And I'm going to take it a little further. See, a lot of the young men and women today They didn't get a chance to see Michael Jordan play. So LeBron James is their hero with respect.
Right. Yeah.
They think LeBron James is the GOAT because that's all they know. That's what they grew up on. So you can't shade them for feeling the way that they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you can't shade the people for saying Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And you look at the accolades and all this and the winning percentages and all this. I don't think any player matches up with MJ, his MVP accolades, his defensive player accolades, all that, because he have a lot of them. But so does LeBron James, and LeBron James is one of my favorite players.
Yeah, LeBron, he pretty much stacking up on every stat.
Yeah, a guy to be his size at 6'8.5", 6'9", and can do the things that he does, facilitate, get all his players into game. See, that's the type of player I like. I'm going to get everybody involved, and then I'm going to do my thing too.
Yeah, hey Nick, let's take one of these calls right quick.
Yeah.
So Real Talk Radio, you live.
Oh boy, I grew up in LA, Lakers fan. I live in Winter Park now. I'm like 62. Magic Johnson is the GOAT, bro.
Magic Johnson's your GOAT.
And that's with all due respect.
In the finals.
Okay.
Dominate. Just mentioning that.
Nah, man, I appreciate your call, man. You definitely, ain't got nothing wrong with it. Ain't got nothing wrong with what you're saying. Thank you. All right.
See, and you have to respect that.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a Laker. He grew up as a Laker, and you can't shade what Magic Johnson done. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He was Showtime. You think about Showtime, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Big James Worthy. You going to Kurt Rambis. Yeah, Byron Scott. You going down the line. Pat Riley was the coach.
Yes,
he's Showtime. Coach. So how could you not respect him as a Laker fan and growing up when the Lakers was winning all those championships? You can't take anything away from the guy that just called in. He's a Laker fan.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Magic Johnson is the GOAT. Hey, you have to respect that.
Yeah, I definitely respect it, man. I ain't got no problem with it. All right, so this is what I want to do, Nick. I want to put this topic on the back burner, man, so we could get in and chop it up about you specifically. I usually do my pump it or dump it, but I'm so anxious to do this interview with you. I'm going to just skip past that, and that's my favorite part of the show. I'm going to skip past that so we can get into this good stuff. All right, so Nick, we want to talk about you and your life. You are from Chicago, Illinois, correct?
Born and raised. I'm a Chicago kid. I'm a Windy City.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. I got a lot of family in Chicago. That's what's up, man. All right. So cool. We got it from Chicago, 1989. This is the NBA draft. You was drafted first round, 11th overall pick by the Orlando Magic. Wow.
Yeah. Let me tell you about those days coming up into the draft.
Okay.
But I'm gonna throw this in before we move a little bit further. Mm-hmm. My high school, Simeon High School, Southside Chicago. I'll tell you some of the young men who came after me out of my high school. Derrick Rose played at my high school.
Nice.
Jabari Parker, who played for Duke, played in the NBA. The second overall pick coming out of Duke, played at my high school. A young man, Kendrick Nunn, who played for the Lakers, for the Heat, played for the Washington Wizards, played at my high school. Me and his dad were high school teammates. Another young man, Taylor Horton Tucker, who plays for the Utah Jazz right now. We had another kid that played in the NBA for a very long time, Bobby Simmons, played for the Milwaukee Bucks, the Clippers. So we had a whole host of young men come out of my high school that has done big things and had some pretty stellar careers, not only from my high school, but the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. But leading up to that that draft. You know, I played ball at the University of Illinois. I only played 2 years of college basketball, and I like to talk about this. You know, me coming out of high school as a senior, I was McDonald's All-American, Parade All-American. I played in all those games that you see young men play in today. We had them back then. I was number 7th in the nation coming out of high school. And then you heard me mention I only played 2 years of college basketball, but I was there 3 years. And I'll tell you the reason why. And I'll tell young men and young women today, with all those accolades that I just mentioned coming out of high school, I was academically ineligible to play my freshman year in college, and here's the reason why. I don't know what it's called today, but back then it was the SAT and the ACT. I did not score high enough on the test to be eligible my freshman year in college. So I had to sit out my freshman year in college. But me as a young man, a 17, 18-year-old kid, my thinking was, oh, they don't want me to play basketball. They trying to hold me back. But that's not what they were doing. They wanted me all that. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Don't expect results for the work you didn't put in. I didn't put in the proper work in the classroom and score high enough on that test to be eligible to play my freshman year.
Man, you make my job so easy,
Please
bro.
say that one more time for the audience in the back.
What?
Especially my son.
Listen, he make my job so easy, man. This is butter. Go ahead.
So I'll tell you what happened to me. I couldn't practice with the team. I couldn't travel with the team. I couldn't go to training table with the team. The only thing that I can do my freshman year with the Fighting Illini basketball team was go to study hall. But me as a young man, I was thinking that they just trying to take basketball away from me. No, that's not what they were doing. They wanted me to put in the work like I was putting on that basketball court. They wanted it in the same sense in the classroom.
That's big, yeah. That's big.
I had one of my professors come to me, and she said, "We gonna get this done. We gonna be the best in the classroom and on the court." And with her giving me that encouragement, that opportunity to put that work in, that's exactly what I did.
Man, shout out to that professor, man. That's what's up.
Right. I took classes towards my degree, and what I wanted to do was speech communication broadcaster.
Okay.
She showed me the way. And from that day on, when I had that professor take me under her wing and help me prepare myself for what was at stake, I could never not talk about that opportunity that she gave me and helped me with that took me to another level.
Yeah, man, definitely.
With that being said, I had the opportunity to get back on that floor because I did a hell of a job in that classroom with my classes. My sophomore year, I averaged 17 points a game as a sophomore. My junior year, I averaged 20 points and 10 rebounds, leading my team and scoring and rebounding on to the Final Four in Seattle, where the Final Four was the University of Illinois, the University of Michigan, Duke University, and Seton Hall. We ended up losing to Michigan 83-82 on the last second shot. And I have the the accolades to show. I was Chevrolet MVP all the way to the Final Four, where we beat Ball State, McNeese State, Syracuse, and Louisville. Syracuse had Derek Coleman, Sherman Douglas, Billy Owens. Those are all Stevie Thompson. Those guys that I just named were all NBA first-round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, Glenn Rice, Romeo Robinson, Lloyd Vault, Terry Mills, Sean Higgin, Mark Vaughn. All those guys were NBA players drafted first and second round. Me and Glenn Rice was in the same draft, and if I'm not mistaken, he was the fourth player picked in the first round in that draft in 1989. So what I'm saying is to all the young men and young women that are listening tonight, put that work in the classroom and on the floor.
Do that. Yeah, man.
Think of this. When you get a scholarship to go to college, it does not say athlete student. It says student athlete.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're a student before. If you don't put the work in that classroom, you will not be out on that basketball court, that football field, that volleyball court, that baseball field, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Get your work.
For sure. Definitely.
Get your work in, and then when you putting that work in, you can be on those fields or those courts. So I watch when college basketball, football, whatever comes on. I see these young men when they highlight them, say John Stevenson, 4.0. He majors in physics. I light up because he's putting that work in.
Mm-hmm.
See, young men today, and I'm a directed at the young men because young ladies, they look at stuff different. They're gonna take care of their business in that classroom.
I feel you.
Just with all due respect, they're gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
See, these kids, they go to school just looking at, I'm gonna be an NFL player. I'm gonna be a Major League Baseball player, a basketball player. What if you
break an ankle,
hurt that ACL or rupture that Achilles or whatever, and you can't never play no more, and you didn't go to class? What you gonna do next, bro?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you speaking the truth, bro. You speaking it. You definitely speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna do next?
But yo, check it, Nick, man. For the sake of time, man, because I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to get to, and I feel you, man. But I want to ask you, this. I definitely understand about what led you up to the draft in '89. So you got drafted in '89 by the Magic, of course. Now, from what I understand, you were the first
draft pick in the team's history.
So my question,
the first draft pick in the team's history.
So does that mean basically that, like, they built the team around you? They built,
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I'm the first college draft pick in the Orlando Magic's history.
Man, that's so dope, man. And now at this time, 89, 90, it wasn't too many teams that found success because of the Chicago Bulls. Like, they had the 3-peat. Like, this is around the time of the first 3-peat and stuff like that. Like I said, you got squeezed in a little bit of success in between. And but before I get there, I want to ask you about your number here, because you took on number 25. You're a shooting guard. Can you tell us the story on why you chose the number 25?
Well, in high school, I wore number 44. And I don't know if you or anybody else who are listening ever seen this story on 30 for 30 called Benji.
No.
My high school teammate, who was the number one player in the nation at the time, when you say number one in the nation, he was the best there is in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He wore number 25. He was shot and killed by a 15-year-old kid by the name of Omar Dixon a week before Thanksgiving. And that was my guy, my best friend. And we used to talk about what we were going to do for our our families when we made it to the pros. We always talked about what school we was going to go to, and it was so unfortunate that happened to him. He was shot twice in the stomach, right down the street from our school, maybe a half a block. At the school store, about a 15-year-old that came from another school up to our school, and that tragic moment. So I took on what me and Benji talked about.
Honoring Benji by wearing number 25 at the University of Illinois, and then for 13 seasons in the NBA, even demanding it in his contracts.
Making it to the pros and taking care of our family. And I chose to wear number 25 to carry on his legacy. I wore number 25 my entire career. Young men from around Chicago and my high school who went on to play college basketball at other universities, we carry Benji's legacy on to this day. And one player in particular that I'll mention that wore his number in college, and he wore it in the pros too. They're from Chicago, and he's Juwan Howard. He's the University of Michigan basketball coach to this day.
Yeah,
Juwan grew up under me in Chicago. He wore number 25 in Michigan. He's one of the guys that carried that legacy on, and I must say this, I would be remiss to say this, Juwan Howard's son was a first-round draft pick of the Orlando Magic this past draft, Jet Howard.
All right.
So that's why I wore number 25, because of my high school teammate, and I carry his legacy on to this day.
Man, you make the hairs on my arm stand up, man. I'm going to tell you a personal story real quick. At Seminole High School, but between 94 and 98, I was the only person in the whole entire school that wore Nick Anderson's jersey. I had Pat Penny, Shaq, I had Nick Anderson, Horace Grant. I think the only person I didn't have in that lineup was Dennis Scott, but I used to wear that Nick Anderson jersey, man. I remember my little sister, she used to try to be cool. She would take my jersey and put it on. So she'd wear Nick Anderson jersey too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you got that little sibling that want to, think they older brother is cool or whatever, so they try to wear your clothes. She wore my Nick Anderson jersey. I used to get mad when she was sneaking wear it. But yeah, I wanted to throw that in there, man, because
I appreciate it, man. Number 25 means a lot to me. I wore it my entire Orlando career, and when I was traded to Sacramento, I wore number 25. I've never put on another number in my career but number 25. And, when I was out in Sacramento, I had some hell of a teammates, and Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, White Chocolate, Jason Williams. It was a great time.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, great times.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Let me back up for a minute. All right, so first season, Orlando Magic, you with the Magic, I think you guys only won like 18 games or something like that, right?
18 games. 18 games. It was brutal, man. And I tell you, let me give you a little history on back then. See, I was the first college draft pick in the team's history. And Orlando was a new team. We just came into the league.
Yep.
And I played with a lot of veterans, good players. Now people think, back then they were good players. I played with a bunch of veteran players. I'll throw some old names out there to you. Sidney Green, who played for the Bulls for a long time.
Sidney Green.
Sam Vincent, who played for the Boston Celtics. He played with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and all those guys. Going down the line, it was great times back then for me as a young man. I couldn't even think about some of the things these young men think today. I want to get traded. I'm not going to play here.
Yeah.
Man, please. I was grateful for my opportunity.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I was
man.
grateful for my opportunity. Look, man, don't you know there's a million kids that love to be in your shoes
Yeah.
and gonna do right? Come on.
Man, I'm just grateful that you just felt it was your lot to fall the way you fell. You know what I'm saying? The way where you came in the league and, just your whole entire history. That's just something to be grateful for. 1990, man, you guys pick up Dennis Scott. 2 years later, you guys pick up Shaquille O'Neal. Man, and then the following year, you guys were supposed to get Chris Webber. However, you guys traded him for Penny Hardaway.
Number one.
Now, you talk about that draft. As you know, we had the number one pick, and we got Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
And we turn around and get another number one pick, and we drafted Chris Webber,
Mm-hmm.
and Penny Hardaway was the third pick in that same draft. He got drafted by Golden State.
Yeah.
But as you see commissioners come up on the podium at times, and he mentioned a trade, and that's what the trade was. We swapped Chris Webber for Penny Hardaway, and Penny Hardaway was, I tell people all the time, like I said, injuries happen. You don't know why they happen, when they gonna happen, all that. Penny Hardaway was a hell of a basketball player.
But that brother right there was my favorite player.
Hell of a basketball player. Penny Hardaway to me was that little brother that I always wanted.
Wow.
I watched Blue Chips because of that dude.
Yeah, I love that movie too, man. But Penny Hardaway, man, I'm talking about that man turned a city of Orlando into a whole nother place, man.
It was global.
Yeah, it was good times. It was good times, and that time I'll walk you through the whole thing. Being a young team, that year that we went to the NBA Finals, we were, after the season was over, we finished 60-22.
Yes, sir. Yep.
We were 39-2 at home.
And that wasn't let me ask you something. That was Penny's first year, right?
No.
No, it wasn't his first year? Okay.
No, it wasn't. We went to the NBA Finals 94-95 season. He was drafted in
93.
Okay. 93.
Got you.
We were, again, 60-22 at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 60-22 for the regular season, 39-2 at home. The only two losses that we had at home was against the Seattle Supersonics and the Utah Jazz. And you think about the teams back then, the Utah Jazz, Karl Malone, John Stockton, with a host of good players that played on that team. Seattle, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Nate McMillan, Dallas Shrimp. You go on down the line.
Yeah.
Great players. But we ended up playing the Boston Celtics in the first round. Boston Celtics, Dominique Wilkins, Sherman Douglas, Rick Fox, Dino Raja, and we ended up beating the Celtics in the first round. Now, get this. I played the very last basketball game ever played in the Garden. So our Orlando Magic team that year shut down the Garden. And I'll tell you why we shut down the Garden. We beat them on their floor to win the series. And the next year, they moved into the new facility, the new arena that we was playing in. There were no more games played in the Garden. So I could say, I tell people all the time, I was part of that team that shut down the Garden.
Yes, sir.
So we go on to now. We're a young team. We're very young. I think our average age back then was 26 years old. We were very young. Very young. We didn't have much. Horace was the only one. Horace and Brian Shaw was basically the only ones that really had playoff experience deep in the playoffs on our team. So we ended up playing the Bulls the second round. That's when MJ came back from playing baseball, wearing number 45. We ended up beating the Bulls in that series. Now, I ask you guys this question. You might know it, you might not. Who was the last team that the Chicago Bulls lost to in a series?
At that time?
Even today.
I think it was the Magic.
Back with Michael Jordan in the 90s. Who's the last team that they lost to in a series, not in a game?
I think it was Orlando.
Orlando?
I think. Don't quote me.
Yes, you're right.
Because they did another three-peat and he was done.
Yeah.
Jordan was done.
In that game, I was like, I think middle school, but the whole city was on fire when that happened.
For sure, yeah.
People couldn't believe it.
We ended up beating the Bulls, and then we went on to play the Pacers with Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Rick Schmitz, the Davis boys.
Man, that was a boy. Y'all always had battles with Indiana, boy. I used to
exactly.
Ooh, y'all had some battles with them boys. Rick Schmitz.
We ended up beating them.
Yeah.
In 7 games. Mm-hmm. And then we went on to lose to the Houston Rockets, were a great basketball team. Great.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the type of guy that I never try to throw shade at players in teams. That's just not my style.
Mm-hmm.
Never have been, and it won't be today. Led by Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, all those guys.
Yeah, man. Gotta throw our boy Kenny the Jet in there.
Kenny, like I said, I'm a guy. I show respect and love to my peers and my opponents.
Right, yeah.
That's just me. I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not a guy. I'm not the one that throw the shade or what they say. I don't drink haterade.
Yeah, but but like back up for a little bit though. Like you guys were so dominant. Like when Shaq came in, they had to create a defensive mechanism for this dude. They called it Hacker Shaq.
They also had to reinforce the hoops too.
Yeah, because he used to break a lot of them.
And get this, man. There was, Shaq was Shaq, and I look at the young men that play today. And they just don't understand what you was in for when you had to guard this dude.
Yeah, man. What?
You don't know.
Let me ask this. This brings up a great question for me to ask you. Where does Shaq fall as far as the greatest centers of all times for you?
Well, he's right there.
Right there, yeah. I figured
he's right there. You think, and then you talk about again the guys, the centers that I know about, that I've seen, the Bill Russells, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, and the Wes Unseld, and guys like that.
Yeah,
you have to see when you don't know something about someone, you'll say anything. That's why I always say, learn who came before you.
For sure. Yeah, man.
Learn, know about them. Get to know about them. The Patrick Ewings, the Akeem Olajuwons. Shaq is right there at the top.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you this too, because now there's so many things that can spiral from this. But I want to ask you, and I know you're affiliated with the Magic and all that, but we want the real Nick Anderson answer for this question here. Man, a player like Shaquille O'Neal, what was the Orlando Magic organization thinking about giving up a piece like that? Like, this organization becomes very questionable with certain players like Shaq and T-Mac, the Dwight Howards, Ben Wallace, Chauncey, like the list goes on and on and on. Even like the Rafer Austin situation where, when he was like doing so good in the playoffs, and then the whole switch up thing for Jameer Nelson and all that, like what's going on with the organization, the heads of the company?
Well, I would say this. I wouldn't get deep off into. I'll just say this: the Shaq time in Orlando, when his contract was up, the one thing that left a bad taste in my mouth was back then was, here's Shaq. What, Shaq 20, 22 years old, 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When whatever age, he was a young buck, as we call it. What they call it here, he always say a young jit.
Young jit, yeah, yeah.
Okay, when it was time for him to renegotiate his contract, and I don't know what the negotiations were in the front office.
Mm-hmm.
I never lay anything just on the team. Mm-hmm. I don't know what his agent, what he was talking about with the organization. I don't know that any of that. But the one thing that left a bad taste in my mouth was the Orlando Sentinel having a poll and people calling in saying, or if I'm not mistaken, the headline, should we let him go or should he stay? And you have to understand this. As a athlete, as a professional, I don't care, in a business, you always got people out there, if they ain't doing what you do or got what you have,
mm-hmm.
they hating.
Yeah, yeah.
And for them to let people call in and say, oh, let him go. We're not going to pay him this or pay him that. Here's a 21-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
All in his feelings.
I understand.
So, what do you think he's thinking? Oh, y'all don't want me here? I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And it's always the people that ain't writing the check that say something about
exactly
the money contract.
Yeah, man. I get it. It's just so many instances. You know, I know there's a whole bunch of shoulda, woulda, couldas. It's just so many instances. Like we think, like, what's going on, man, with all these players?
You see it today.
Yeah.
You see it today with players. You got people. Social media. See, people, the social media nowadays, when you put it out there, it's out there. Ain't no taking it back.
Right, yeah. Now that's the gospel right there.
Twitter, the new newsroom.
Yeah.
Instagram.
When you type it up, you better be ready for the repercussions.
Mean what you say. You better be what you say. I got you. Hey, well, Nick, man, listen, for the sake of time, man, I definitely got two things I want to cover. And one of them is definitely this series with the Chicago Bulls and this whole thing about the quote unquote the steal. Man. We want to talk about this steal. It's a couple things that people just been like, man, listen, you got to talk to him about this. You got to talk to him about that. So I'm going to squeeze it in. I'm going to get it in. So we got to talk about the steal. This move, man, you did this pick the pocket type of move on Jordan where you basically set up the game winning shot for his old teammate Horace Grant. And, so then Jordan comes back the next game, you know what I'm saying? And it seemed like single-handedly.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, man. Crazy stuff, man.
I'll walk you through it. As you know, it was a tight game.
Uh-huh.
Now, like I said, he had on number 45.
Mm-hmm.
Tight game. They inbound the ball, and of course, you put it in the man's hand. Okay, I was in front of him. And I kind of try to reach at him, and he went around me. He was going down the right side of the court. He was dribbling in his right hand. So he thought I was coming up the middle of the court, but I was on the outside of his right hand. And I had the opportunity to, when he was dribbling up, I had an opportunity to reach down with my left hand and knocked the ball away from him, and I knocked it away from him to Penny. Penny got it in the fast break, and it was a 2-on-1 with Penny and Horace Grant against Tony Kukoc. Penny made the nice bounce pass, and Horace slammed it in. That put us up. But let's not forget, the Bulls had a last-second shot that they missed.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to say, had you not knocked that ball from MJ, we done seen this movie 1,000 times. You know it was going. You know it was going to happen. And he got that ball in that last. But yeah, man, that was beautiful.
It was a great play against the best basketball player, in my opinion. And again, everybody has their own opinion, and I respect them.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
And Michael Jordan, it was the greatest player in the history of the game to me.
Yeah.
Back then. But again, he had on number 45. After the game, I forget what news reporter, I want to say, asked me the question about what's the difference between 45 and 23.
After the game, Nick Anderson said, he was like, 45 isn't 23. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
It's in writing.
Yeah, man. Nick Anderson is the man to put away 45 for good.
I said 45 is not 23.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And the next game, he had on 23.
When we met them the next game, MJ just went off.
And scored, 30-something points?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I said it. You know, it was basketball, but did I mean it in a bad way? No. But being reporters and journalists back then, they need to throw fuel on the fire.
Nah, I got it. I definitely got you, man. Before I let you go, brother, we got to get this last one in. This is the main question that everyone wants to know. You already know what we talking about. Everybody, you got to ask them about this. All right, so here it is. Game 1 of the finals here. At home, You guys is at home. You're up 3 against the defending champs, the Houston Rockets. It's 10 seconds left in the game. You approach the free throw.
No, it wasn't 10. No, I know what you're talking about. It wasn't 10 seconds in the game.
No?
Let me walk you back now.
All right, let's get it.
I tell people all the time, let's not forget, we were up 27 points.
Yes, indeed. All right.
We were up 27 points, and we let the Houston Rockets come back. And I missed, if I'm not mistaken, I got fouled. It was like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. And I missed 2 free throws. And then a couple of plays later, I got fouled again. Akeem Olajuwon fouled me.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed 2 more. And everybody always will say, well, I lost the game. It's basketball. It's a game.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Would I ever? I don't think any player, female, male, or who, if you're just playing pickup NBA or whatever, you would never walk up and not give you your best. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be one of those people to say that you lost the game. I know that after.
Well, that's what people say. And again, as a former player that played the game a long time, if that's what you think, you entitled to that.
Okay. Well, yeah,
I never take away what people. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
Right. And I seen it. It got pretty ugly. You know, people was in the headlines the next day. Oh, Brick Anderson, blah, 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 all of that. That ain't really my standpoint. But I wanted to ask you. My question is, after that set of shots right there, would you say that broke your spirit as a basketball player?
It kind of weighed on me. And you ever heard of this? Someone saying this, hey man, you're overthinking something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I overthought. I was putting more into it than what it really was.
I'm glad you said that, because my final question was going to be, from that experience, what can you say? You know how they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. From that experience for you, could you tell us how that may have helped you in life? Basically,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Let's take it back a little further. I remember I had my free throw rules a little bit after that, but I had a coach in Chuck Daly and a GM in John Gabriel that believed in me, and I had teammates. See, this is what I'm talking about when you have good people around you. I have some hell of a teammates, Daryl Armstrong in particular, again, Penny Hardaway and Brian Shaw and all those guys. When I had my little woos, the first half of the season, I struggled. But the second half of the season, I remember Chuck Daly coming to me and saying, "Can I please see the Nick Anderson that I used to coach against?" And that's when he was with the Detroit Pistons with the Bad Boys. And I never forget it. He started me down. We was going to Miami, and he started me at the small forward down in Miami. And I ended up, I think, somewhere between 25 and 27 points. In the second half of the season, after the All-Star break, I averaged 27 points a game in the second half of the season. So, with that being said, to answer your question, I'll tell you and I'll tell many others, there are always going to be peaks and valleys, trials and tribulations, or whatever you want to call them. But what I say to you, don't never give up, bruh.
Amen.
Don't never give up.
Hey, listen,
because,
man.
Think of this.
Now, go ahead.
The man upstairs don't give you no more than you can bear. He give all his soldiers things because he know he can handle.
Right. Yeah, man. I look at it like this, bro. At the end of the day, where we at right now is the Orlando Magic have never brought home a championship yet. From right now, as we speak, anybody who feel like, Nick Anderson did this or Nick Anderson did that, my thing is this. Right now, as we speak, Nick Anderson is one of the people who contributed to us being where we are as an Orlando Magic team. We've made it to the finals twice. 2 times.
I really appreciate those words, man. I really do. You said I said some things to you earlier that gave you goosebumps. That just gave me goosebumps. I appreciate that.
Hey, man, man.
I really appreciate that. I know that everybody don't feel the same way that you do, but that's okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, the facts is the facts, though. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. That's okay. And again,
yeah,
I'm a brother that I respect that.
Yeah,
but
man.
You saying that, I appreciate that. But I tell you what you doing, and everybody that's in there with you, keep doing what you're doing. Always think positive and reach for the sky, because when you put the work in, you get the results. And I tell you, just like I tell anybody, don't expect results for the work you didn't put in. Keep putting that work in.
That's the quote of the day, right?
Tell him to stop being petty.
Yeah,
he'll probably take that from you versus us. Tell him stop being petty.
Man, I'm gonna beat up on Chris when he come in. But yo, man, Nick, man, I just want to say this one more time to you, man, and I'm gonna give you your shout out time, man, so we get up out of here, man. Listen, man, thank you so much for being a part of my childhood, man. It meant so much to me. You, Penny, Shaq, man, even Anthony Bowie, Anthony Avent, you know what I mean? Like Don Arroyo, like, come on, all y'all boys, man.
Now you're talking, bro. You're talking about some good people, man.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity, and showing me love.
Oh yeah.
And again, I appreciate it, man. This is what I'm all about. I like times like this because you savor these moments. These are memories.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate it, man. I ain't got nothing but love for you and everybody else, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Man, one of my childhood heroes. Hey, brother, listen, man, we got to get up out of here, man. I want to give you time to give your shout-outs, man. Anything you want to say to the public right now, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have it all over YouTube and all of that good stuff, man. So go ahead and give your shout-outs, man.
I have to, from a Magic fans from day one to today, I appreciate the love, all the respect, through the good times, the bad times, the highs and lows, or whatever you want to call them. Great times. It's people like yourself and others out there that, mean a whole lot. And I appreciate it, man. Go Magic.
Hey, man, thank you so much, Nick, man. We truly appreciate you, man. All right, man, we'll holler at you later, man. Have a good night.
All right, much love to y'all, man. Y'all be safe, man.
Thank you.
And ain't nothing but blessings out here for y'all.
Amen. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right.
Peace.